good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. And welcome to the Simply I Can Win show. I'm Samuel ICanWin, Samuel I Can Win ICanWin, and today we are going to have our day one session talking about purpose. It is day one of our 14 Days on Purpose series. And guys, let me tell you something. Today's video is going to be powerful. Okay, I'm just going to say it one more time for those of you who are ready for me, those of you who've got your notepads, your iPads, your tablets, your pens, your papers, and who are ready to go. First and foremost, let me say this. If you are joining us for the first time, brand new, you've never connected with the Simply I Can Win show, the Simply I Can Win channel, anything we're doing over here on YouTube, just write in the comments, in the live chat, or in the comments secondarily, the word new. It will be great for us to be able to welcome you and say hi and welcome to this environment. Now, if you're someone who's watched one of our vlogs before, you've watched one of our live videos before, you maybe even tuned in yesterday for the first time when I did our first video precursor to the 14 days which we start today, then again, I want to greet you. I want you to say back again in the chat. Now, guys, let me tell you something. Today is day one. Today is day one. It's kind of like your introduction. And usually when you have an introduction to something, it's usually a lot of the time one of the most powerful pieces of that involvement, one of the most powerful pieces of that series, of that engagement, etc., etc. I'll share something with you quite interesting. One of my brothers, he has a 5-minute test. Whenever he's watching a film, he has a 5-minute test, and he basically says, if this fails the 5-minute test, I will not watch the rest of the film. And what he basically does is he watches the film until a point where it loses his attention, and he basically says he then checks the time, and if the time is before 5 minutes, he will turn that film off. If the time is after 5 minutes, he will keep that film on. And that's the 5-minute test as it pertains to films. Now, I don't know if he found that from someone else or heard that from someone else, but I first heard it from my brother. And I thought that was a really, really powerful test because it just gives us an insight into how an introduction plays such a major part into the rest of what's going to happen in our lives, in this film, in this series, etc., etc., etc. So I want to share that with you for you to understand that your life, wherever you are right now, you might be 5, you might be 50, you might be 25, you might be 35, 45, you might be any age in between, okay? But I want to share with you a concept for you to understand that your life, the majority of your life has been lived out from the introductions that your life has had. Okay, I'm going to say that again for those of you who are taking notes, those of you who are like me, who really want to get the most juice out of this engagement. Your life, okay, your life is a byproduct of the majority of introductions that have been made to you. Now, as I say that to you, you might be thinking to yourself, introductions? I've only been introduced to 1 or 2 people who are famous, or 1 or 2 people who, you know, guys, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the principles, the concepts, the frameworks, the ideologies that you have been introduced to. And it's with that being said that I want to jump straight into today's content because we've got no time to waste, okay? We've got absolutely no time to waste. On this 14 days of purpose, 14 days on purpose. If you want to stick with us, if you want to be with us throughout this period, what I want to invite you to do is hit the like button. Side by side with that, press that subscribe icon, okay, which is usually in the bottom left of the screen, which will be your bottom right, I assume. Okay, but hit that subscribe icon, press the bell notification, tell YouTube every single time in this 14 days that Samuel or the I Can Win family are going live, I want to be notified. Be one of those people, all right? And my hat is off, literally, to all of those who have hit the subscribe, pressed the bell, and clicked all, which means every single time we drop a video, you want to be made aware and made known. Now, why is today, day one, so important? I've just already shared with you guys that the introduction to a thing is usually a very, very powerful precursor as to where and what this thing is going to do to be with us. I've got my man KBA Boss on the stream. He said, great to be here, Samuel. Great to have you here, Mr. Bossman. And guys, let me tell you something. This 14 days is going to be life-changing, okay? I'm just going to be very, very pragmatic about it. Some of you are going to be like, oh, that's a bold claim. Well, stay with us for 14 days and then tell me at the end if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And I can assure you it's going to be life-changing. The reason why is because it's very rare that I get to take the hood off of the bonnet, okay? That's American mixed with English, which is interesting. But I get to take the bonnet off of the vehicle and basically show people what actually goes on underneath. So a lot of people may know me from the property space, where I invest in property, coach other people and show them how to invest in property. And again, if you're interested in that, you can go to our YouTube channel, Impact Properties London, and you can find that by going to impactproperties.co.uk/YouTube. But guys, this is who I am, okay? This is my family channel. This is who I am. Those of you who've been rocking with us for a while, who've been on our family channel for a while, you'll see I've got vlogs on here, my children are cooking on here, you know, me and my wife doing stuff on here, because this is our family channel. This is the man behind the business, okay? So guys, if you want to know more about this stuff, if you're interested more about this stuff, let me know, because I don't know what you want to know, okay? But let me know. Write it down in the comments. If those of you who are live, let us know live. And side by side with that, those of you who are jumping into the chat and watching this on a replay, feel free to let us know in the replay, okay? Guys, we want to help you to go further, faster. So the way we're going to do that is by connecting and collaborating. Now, day one. The question we're asking today, I want to throw the question out there right off the bat, right off the top, let you guys have the question, and then we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into this question today in this stream. And guys, let me tell you something. I've said it already. I'll say it again. This stream is going to be powerful. This whole series of 14 days is going to be powerful, but I know specifically today's stream is going to be an extremely powerful one. Now, the reason why is because of the question we're looking at, the question we're speaking about. The question for today is, what does purpose mean to you? Okay, not to your dad, not to your mom, not to your friend, not to your family. What does purpose actually mean to you? That's the question we're going to be discovering, delving into, and exploring today. Now, I want to start this series off by sharing something with you, okay? I want to start by sharing with you what this series is not, okay? Now, many people who know me know already that I'm an avid reader of the Bible. I've usually always got a Bible close, as you can see right now, okay? And being an avid reader of the Bible, a lot of the principles I tend to teach people, whether it be in the property space, whether it be in the family space, whether it be in the relational space, all of the different spaces people ask me to share on, the educational space, generally tend to be Bible-based principles. So to start with, I want to share with you what this series is not. The first thing this series is not, this series is not religious. Okay, this series is not religious. This series is not going to be about religion. Okay, so if you're someone who's tuned into this, you're watching live or you're watching on a replay, and you're thinking, oh, I know Samuel likes to read the Bible, so is this 14 days going to be religious? No, it's not going to be religious. Okay, so I apologize for those of you who are looking for something religious. This is not going to be religious. Okay, and I'm saying this from my definition of these terms. Okay. Another thing this 14 days is not going to be, this 14 days is not going to be a sell, okay? And I want to say that to you because there may be some people who are following me kind of for my property space, and they're expecting, they're used to someone just selling them stuff all the time. And, you know, most people know me. I'm not that kind of a character anyway. I don't like selling people in that way. I've got a very strong sales background, which is why I try to stay away from sales. And I just try to offer people immense value. So this is not going to be a sales fest, a 14-day sales fest. That's another thing. This is not going to be for 14 days. Another thing this is not going to be, okay? And I'm going to be very, very transparent about this. I want you to really take this to heart. This is not going to be easy, okay? This is not going to be easy. I want you to understand that. If you're taking notes, that's a great place to start taking your notes. Samuel's 14 days on purpose is not going to be easy for me. Okay, because if you're the kind of person who likes/loves easy, guys, this is probably not the 14-day series for you. All right, so this is not going to be easy. Okay, it's not going to be easy. Not only is it not going to be easy, not only is it not going to be religious, not only, okay, is this not going to be a sales fest. Okay, this is going to be, let me talk to you, or let me share one other thing this is not going to be, okay, just so you guys have the full expanse of what this is not going to be. Okay, this is not going to be a funnel. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of the word funnel before. Okay, because a funnel is where you put someone through something in order to get them into something else. Okay, this is not intended in any way, shape, or form to be a funnel. Okay, so there are 4 things this 14 days is not going to be. So for those of you who are looking for any of those things, if you're looking for this to funnel you into something else, okay, which you're not aware of right now, this is not that. You can jump off the video. If you're looking for this to be a sales fest, where you're going to be bombarded with sales and products and courses every single one of these 14 days. This is not that. You can jump off. If you're looking for this 14 days on purpose to be easy and to not affect you in your heart, to not affect you in your cerebral cortex, in your mind, if you're looking for this to be easy, again, I want to invite you just to leave. You know, this is YouTube, so there's lots of videos on the sides of the video. Just hit one of them right now and go and enjoy that, and maybe come back on the replay to this, maybe, because then you can watch this without feeling the pressure. The last thing, as I said, is this is not religious. So if you're looking for something religious, this is not the place to be, okay? So they're the 4 things this is not going to be. Now, let's jump into what this is going to be. Now, if you're happy about those 4 things, because they're the people I'm speaking to, the people who are happy about these 4 things, okay? I've got my man Mrs ICanWin in the chat. Another purpose of gracefully. Appreciated. I love it when we get people who are jumping into the stream. So, guys, let's do this together. They're the 4 things this is not going to be. Now, if you're one of those people who are glad that we're not going to have any of those 4 things, or this is not any of these 4 things, I want you to write in the chat just the word glad, okay? Just write the word glad. Simple, GLAD, 4-letter word. Write the word glad for me if you are glad that that is not going to be what we're talking about or doing for the next 14 days. Now, here's the next 4 things that this is going to be, okay? Now, although I've shared with you, this is not going to be religious, okay? This 14 days is going to be a biblically founded view on life's purpose, okay? And if you want to understand what I mean by that a little bit more, maybe go to the book of Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5, okay? So this is going to be a biblically founded view. It's going to be a view based on the Bible, okay? Not one preacher's interpretation of the Bible, not a pope's interpretation of the Bible, not a priest's hearsay about the Bible. This is going to be from the Bible. So if you've got a Bible near you, close to you, you can read this stuff for yourself and see if I'm speaking the truth, see if I'm telling you as it is in the book, or if I'm telling you as it is made up in my head, okay? So the first thing this is going to be, although it's not going to be religious, this is going to be biblically founded truths, okay, or biblically founded principles for these 14 days we're going to be talking about, we're going to be uncovering, we're going to be sharing. The second thing this is going to be, okay, I said to you this is not going to be easy, and I stand by that. This is not going to be easy stuff for you to deal with and digest and use to move forward in your purpose. I'm going to be transparent. Why? Because my life has not been easy. In order to learn these things, in order to engage with these things, in order to observe these things from the life of the people we're going to be speaking about and the people I've engaged with also, it's not going to be easy, but it is going to be simple. So you need to write that down. This is not easy, but it will be simple. Now, by simple, what I mean is it's going to be digestible. It's going to be information that you can digest, information that you can work with, information that you can use, information that you could take to the next stage of your life, okay? And if it's not going to be that, there's no point in me doing this. So this is something which is very important to me, to ensure that what I share with you guys is going to be simple, even though it's not easy. And I want to do this because I want you to understand, those of you who watched the video yesterday where we spoke about what we're going to be doing for 14 days, you should understand, okay, that we're doing this to help people. This 14-day series is to help people. That is the heart behind this. We are sharing in order to help people. Now, because we're sharing in order to help people, we have to sometimes do some things with these people, which is not going to be easy, because changing your life, if that's what you want to do, is not an easy thing, but it is a simple thing, okay? So it's digestible, it's understandable, it's comprehensible, and these are the things I want to participate with you guys in throughout this 14-day series. So I'm just getting you guys ready to go for the series. Now, if you are ready to go, if you're engaging with this and you're already getting value, feel free to write in the chat something, say hi, don't be afraid to just say hi. Okay, I'm interested in seeing who's on the stream. Let's see if we can get some chat on as I keep going forward in terms of what this is and what this is not, and who this is and who this is not for. So we said already, this is not going to be religious, but this is going to have biblically founded principles. We said this is not going to be easy, but this is going to be simple. Now, I already mentioned this is not going to be a sales fest. We are not going to have 14 days of sales, okay? But what I want to encourage you to do is, if the things we're sharing over these 14 days resonate with you, what I want you to do is engage with it. That's all I want you to do. If you hear something and it hits you, if you hear something and it's a nugget for you, if you hear something and that's a gem to you, if you hear something and you're like, I need that in my life, I need to use this more, all I want you to do is engage with it. And what I mean by that is this: if I make a statement that you're like, that's true, I need that he's talking to me, all I want you to do is just write something in the chat. You might just write yes, okay? You might write, I needed that. You might write, it doesn't matter what you write, I just want you to engage, okay? Now, the reason I want you to engage is because I learned a long time ago, and I want to share this with you. I learned that as we engage with information, it allows that information to be embedded. So I'm cheating here, but I want you to be aware of the cheat that I'm basically sharing with you. The cheat is, if I really want to help you, I need you to change. And in order for you to change, you need to engage. So I'm basically cheating by saying to you, if you hear something that you think connects with you throughout this 14 days, if you connect with something throughout these 14 days, I just need you to hit a button like, or hit a few keys like, hey, like, yo, like, just do something. Okay. Sometimes, my wife tells me all the time I should stop it. Sometimes we're walking down the street. Sometimes we're driving in the car. Sometimes we're just at home, relaxing, chilling, and I will just shout, yep. Okay. Just like that, guys. Yep. Apologies, those of you who are watching, listening through their headphones, because I know that was probably quite loud. I do apologize. But guys, I want you to understand what I'm talking about. Sometimes I just engage with the world, with life like that. And my wife might be looking at me like, why'd you do that? Like, and obviously we've been married for nearly a decade now, so she's kind of coming to the understanding of why I do that. The reason I do that is because I'm engaging with life. What will usually happen is we might be walking, I see something, it triggers a thought, I have a deep reflection, and then I make a noise. I just show the atmosphere that I picked that up. I just let the atmosphere know I was hearing that. I just let people know that there's something going on here. And guys, I want you to be one of those people, okay? You don't have to shout. You don't have to be like me. That's okay, all right? You might not have as much energy as me. That's fine. That's why probably I'm here on this side of the camera and you're there on that side of the screen. But the point I'm making is, regardless of the energy level you have, we can all engage, okay? We can all engage. And I just want you guys to engage with this environment, we engage with this community, engage with this message over the 14 days if it resonates with you. Now, I'm going to say this as well, because there's a world of people who are watching this on replay. You might be watching this right now on replay. You might be a minute behind us. You might be 2 minutes behind us. You might be 4 hours behind us. You might be the person who's watching this 4 years later, okay? I don't mind when you're watching this, but I want to make this very, very clear for you as well, okay? Don't allow the fact you're watching this on a replay to cheat you out of your decision to engage. I hope that's clear, okay? I've done that before. That's why I'm talking about this. I'm not saying this because I'm picking on you if you're watching this on a replay. I'm saying this because I've done that before. So I know it happens, okay? And I don't want us to do that anymore, okay? The reason I don't want us to do that anymore is because I want to share something with you. I want you to understand that even if you're watching this content on a replay, you can still engage. You can still go in the comments. You can still write comments as if you're live with us, all right? Now, why would I encourage you to do that? The reason I'd encourage you to do that is because of that, again, is going to allow you to engage and allow you to get the most out of this environment, okay? And that's all you've got to do. That's all we're asking you to do. We're not asking you to buy a course. We're not asking you to follow us on a journey. We're not asking you to do any of that. If you want to do all of that stuff, that's fantastic. But what we want you to do is just engage with this content so the purpose in your life can become manifested. So hopefully that's enough on that point. So it's not going to be easy. Side by side with that, it's not going to be religious. It's not going to be a sales fest. And last but not least, this is not going to be a funnel pushing you into something else. Now, although this is not a funnel pushing you into something else, I also want to invite you to follow us on our journey if you feel that way inclined. You can do that by hitting subscribe. You can do that by just checking in on our channel every now and then. You can do that by going to our website, SamuelICanWin.com, my personal website. You can do that in any way, shape, or form you want. But if you want to follow us on the journey, feel free to. Like I said, this 14 days is not going to be a process where we try to get you into some course or funnel you into something else. And for those of you who are that way inclined, tomorrow on Saturday, we actually have our first ever family Bible and breakfast. So again, if that's something of interest to you, let us know in the chat, let us know in the comments. Just say, look, I'm interested, right here in the live chat or somewhere else. Just let us know so that we can work together in order to work on that. All right. Now, with all of that being said, okay, We've shared with you what this series is not. We've also shared with you what this series is going to be about. And what I want to do with you guys is I want to start by reading a Bible verse and then sharing with you something about trajectories, because this is very, very important to get us started, to serve as a foundation. I'm reading Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5, okay? And it says something very interesting. It says, counsel, okay, which you can replace. We're going to do a definition in a moment to help all of us. But counsel, which you can replace with purpose, in the heart of man is deep, like water, okay? All right? So it's saying your advice, okay, your thoughts about things, your purpose, your heart about things, how you feel about things, counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. If you understand deep water, you understand that that can be very, very deep. All right, but it goes and says, this is the rest of the verse. I hope you understand this, because the rest of the verse releases the first part of the verse. It says, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Okay, and look, if you've got a Bible near you, go read that and understand what I've just shared with you. But it says counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Now, why do I want to read that as we get into today's show, as we get into this segment of the 14 days, day one? The reason I want to read that as we get into day one is because I want you to understand something. I want you to understand that I am taking it upon myself to aim to be this man of understanding that it speaks about in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5, who's going to help you draw out the counsel within your heart, who's going to help you draw out the purpose within your heart, who's going to help you draw out the value that's actually within you. Now, look, some people might be saying to themselves, why is this guy going to do that? Why does Samuel want to do that for me? The reason I want to do that for you is very simple. It's because multiple people did that for me. My dad is one of those people who did that for me, but multiple people did that for me, okay? I had hundreds of people, maybe not as much as hundreds, but I had a number of people, lots of people who over the decades have pulled out the counsel within me, all right? And I'm very grateful to my mum and my dad, because my mum and my dad were two key components, two key characters at the early stage of my life who started to do that, who started to draw out of me my value, started to draw out of me my purpose, who started to draw out of me my potential. Now, I want to do that for you, okay? Now, I might not be the key instrument used to do that for you, but I might just be one of those instruments who are used along your journey, along your decades, along your century, etc., to pull out, to draw out the counsel within you. So it says, counsel in the heart of man, okay, is like the deep water. All right. And you need to be like a scuba diver in order to even start the process of drawing that kind of stuff out. It says, counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with drawing out a person's counsel. There's nothing wrong with drawing out a person's purpose. There's nothing wrong with drawing out a person's wisdom. And this is what I'm here for. And this is why I said to you, this is not going to be easy. Because when you draw something out of someone which is in a deep place, okay, or which is like a deep thing, like a deep water, that does not sound like something easy. Now, it may be simple. You just got to swim to the bottom of that ocean. When you get to the bottom of that ocean, you've got to understand and identify what's there. And then you've got to say, okay, let's build this up. Okay, let's build up the dams. Let's build up the reservoirs. Let's build it up so that the waters can start bubbling out, so the waters can start coming to the top, etc., etc. So it can be simple as a process, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. So that's the first thing I wanted to share with you guys, okay? So if you're taking notes, hopefully you've already got quite a few notes, because hopefully you've already got some value. But that's the power right there. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding shall draw it out. So I want to spend the next 14 days with you guys, including today, drawing out the purpose that's actually within you, drawing out the purpose that's been placed inside of your heart, drawing out the purpose that I believe is going to make the biggest change in your life than anything else you've done. You know, there are people who are going to be tuned into this who are tuned in because of the homeschooling content that we've put out over the years on this channel. And they're people who are going to have to do this for their children. You're going to have to do what I'm doing for you right now for your children. And that's okay, because it's better to see someone do something in order for you to learn how to do it yourself than to have never seen any example, whether an example was good, bad, or ugly. And this is something that I learned, and I used to share with myself. Again, I'll share this with you guys to give you some more value. When I used to work in the field of education, I'd see some teachers who were teaching, in my opinion, very poorly. And I'd always say to myself, I don't like the way they do that. I don't think that's good. And I started off in my educational career being a critic, okay? And this was one of the reasons why in the first year of my educational journey or working as an educator, I didn't achieve much success in my first year. I'm putting my hands up. I'm telling you guys the truth. I didn't achieve much success in my first year as an educator. And the reason why was because in my first year as an educator, I was a critic, okay? And I'm going to share this with you. You might have had that experience. You go on a course and be the critic on the course, you don't get much out of the course. You go into a relationship and be the critic in the relationship, and you don't get much out of the relationship. I'm going to tell you, I can tell you this in advance. You might think, oh, Samuel, you're a mind reader. Samuel, you know the future. No, guys, I know principles, and this is a principle I learned in my first year working as an educator. If I am a critic, I will not get the most out of this experience, okay? So if I criticize my children, oh, why do you mess around? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And guys, look, I'm guilty. Sometimes I still do it today. But the point is, I know the principle that every time I sit in the seat of a critic, I lose the opportunity to get the most out of an experience, okay? So if you want to get the most out of child rearing, don't be a critic of your children, okay? If you want to get the most out of your job or your employment, don't be a critic on the job. If you want to get the most out of this 14 days, don't be the critic. Don't be the, oh, how comes that light in the background is red? Okay, guys, it doesn't matter that the light is red, blue, purple, green, orange. Let's change the light each session. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you going to get the most out of this experience? And in order for you to get the most out of the experience, the position you cannot play is the position of a critic. I've learned that the hard way. I want to share it with you so you learn it the easy way. Now, if you're a younger person who's watching this, someone in the 20s, maybe even below the age of 20s, that is a powerful principle that will change your life. So write that down, use that principle, okay? If I sit in the position of a critic, I will not get the most out of any experience. Now, look, guys, I've challenged this and faced this on two different sides. You know, I've got students and coaching clients in my property business that are critics, okay? And I can see they don't ever produce as much results as the ones who are non-critical, the ones who are actually focused on getting the most out of the experience. And side by side with that, I've done that on the other side, like I mentioned, at work. So let's go back to that example. So when I worked my first year, I used to criticize the other teachers. I used to think, oh, this teacher's not doing this really well. That teacher's not doing that very well. That teacher's not doing that very well. And then I heard something from a coach. The coach said something extremely powerful, which basically, it did change my life. It played a key part in helping me understand how I needed to look at things differently. And what the coach basically said is, in life, we have warnings and examples. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I want you to write this down. Guys, I'm telling you, you see, this 14 days is, if you utilize this 14 days is going to be a game changer for you. And this coach said this to me. He said, in life, okay, this is what I took from the coach. In life, we have both warnings and examples. So I'll give you an example right now, okay? Daniel. Okay, if you're someone who reads the Bible, Daniel, or let's use Daniel. Daniel's a better example. So Daniel in the Bible, for example, his life story is a story of an example. Okay, you don't hear of Daniel committing sin, for example. You see Daniel being a leader. You see Daniel being successful. You see Daniel being helpful. You see Daniel changing people's lives. So Daniel's what you call an example. Okay. Now, Samson, on the other hand, most people would classify or consider Samson as a warning. Okay. The reason Samson's a warning is because you see Samson with all of this potential making mistake after mistake after mistake with Delilah, etc., etc. Those of you who don't know the stories I'm talking about, that's okay. We'll probably cover them over the next set of days. And again, obviously, if you don't know the stories I'm talking about, you can go grab a Bible and work out these stories, learn these stories, read these stories, okay? Don't, let me say this because this is very important. Don't rely on your Sunday school knowledge to let you believe you understand what these stories are about or who these people are about, okay? So over these 14 days, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be delving into the life of these particular people whose lives are documented in the Bible. And the reason we're doing that is because a lot of Sunday schools don't do it justice. A lot of Sunday schools, I don't know what the Sunday school teachers are doing. I don't even know if they're reading the Bible themselves, but they tell you stories from the Bible which aren't really from the Bible, which doesn't make any sense. So what we're going to be doing over these 14 days, we're going to be taking some of these people from the Bible. We're going to be breaking down some of kind of who they were, how they achieved success, what success they actually had, and how all this relates to purpose. And then lastly, we're going to be looking specifically at how that can affect your life, how you can use that to move forward. And this is why, again, I said a moment ago, guys, this is not easy. Okay, maybe simple, but this is not going to be an easy journey. So if you are willing to go through a journey which isn't going to be easy, if you are willing to go on a journey with me which isn't going to be a sales fest, if you are willing to go on a journey with me which isn't going to be all about funneling you into something else, and if it's not going to be religious, if that's what you're looking for, then guys, you want to be with me for the 14 days starting today. Now, the trajectory of choices is the first thing I want to share with you guys, even though I've already shared some bombshells with you already. So let's go into the trajectory of choices. Now, if you're taking notes, you know, that's your little subheading for this session. Okay, the trajectory of choices. Now, I shared with you guys earlier, the question we are asking on day one is, what does purpose mean to you? And I'm interested in your answers. So if you're watching this live, let me know in the chat, what does purpose mean to you? Okay, and you can start that with a P, okay, and a colon, just so I know that you're answering the question. P colon, and then answer the question. What does purpose mean to you? Okay, what does purpose mean to you? And I'm going to come into something in a moment in order to help you guys see exactly what I'm talking about when I say, what does purpose mean to you? Okay, so what does purpose mean to you? All right, now that's the question, open question for all of us. Now, let me cover the trajectory of choices and then we'll go deeper into this question. So the trajectory of choices is a concept I coined, which basically alludes to what we're all doing every single second. What I'm doing this very second, what you're doing this very second by watching this, and engaging in this or not engaging in this. Okay, so you might be someone who's watching this and writing comments. You might be someone who's watching this and who's already made the decision, I'm not writing a comment because the minute I try to comment, it says I have to log into YouTube and I'm not logging into YouTube or whatever else. Or you might be the kind of person who's already logged into YouTube, but you're just not going to write a comment, maybe because it's going to show your name and you don't want your name to be seen or whatever else. Okay, I'm just trying to throw out as many ideas or barriers to you making a decision as possible. Okay, now in our life we all have these barriers, psychological barriers, emotional barriers. We have things that are telling us don't do this, do this, etc. And again, this connects heavily with what I said at the beginning of today's show, of what I said at the beginning of this segment, which is basically that we as human beings are majorly led by the things we were introduced to. Okay, so you would find the majority of people who follow the Islamic faith were introduced to the Islamic faith as young people. Hold on, guys, we got one of the children here. Okay, I'm gonna come and see him I'm gonna come and see her and you in a moment. Okay, thank you, champ. All right, so introduction of one of the children. That was Zechariah, guys. For those of you who want to say hi to Zechariah, feel free to just write hi to Zechariah in the live chat or in the comments. And yes, guys, this is a real house, real house where we do real work. So let's keep jumping in. So as I shared earlier on, you know, for so many people, there are choices, emotions, there are things that slow us down, things that create barriers, things that tell us, oh, don't do that. So for example, I'll give you an example. That was a great case in point. You know, some of us would say, well, if I don't have an office where I can lock the door, I'm not going to do a live stream for 14 days back to back because one of my children might walk in and start talking to me. Or someone might say, well, you know what, if, and guys, I can lock this door, but I choose not to lock this door. Again, I'm just throwing this out there to give you guys some insight. But again, this is sometimes the barriers we have. We have barriers psychologically. We have barriers emotionally. We have all these kind of barriers sometimes, which we tell ourselves or people tell us, okay? And a lot of these are connected with things we were introduced to. So some people might say, well, it's not professional to do a live stream where your children can walk in, for example, okay? And that is a barrier that they will have, which will stop them from adding value to a community. That's a barrier that they will have, which will stop them from giving to people who actually need the value, people who are depending on them, people who are waiting on them, people who need to go down that not so easy but very simple road with that particular person. Now, I've made a decision a number of years ago to stop doing that, to stop allowing the psychological, the emotional, the barriers, okay, that I hear in my head to stop me from doing the things I know are right, okay? And again, those of you who have been following me on my journey for some time, you'll know that smoking was one of those things where I had a battle when I was a lot younger, when I was around 13, 19 years old, specifically 18, 19 years old. And you know, I started smoking at the age of 13. 18, 19 is when I gave up. And that was one of the battles I had. In my head, I was saying, I don't want to smoke, but I was still physically smoking. So again, guys, you know, your challenge may not be smoking. Your challenge may be something else. Your challenge may be someone else, okay, if in your perception. But the point I'm making is, regardless of what those challenges are, we have to get to a place where we understand that these challenges are going to stop us from offering the value to the world that we have been given to give to the world, if we allow them to. And we are the only people who have that power to, or to not allow them to, okay? Because many other people are not aware of our barriers. Many other people are not aware of the voices we hear in our head. Now, how does this have anything to do with the trajectory of choices? And this is how it has something to do with the trajectory of choices. And this is why this is so relevant as we get started in day 1 of the 14 days. The trajectory of choices is all about how a boat sails. The trajectory of choices is all about how a plane flies, okay? Now, many of you will hopefully know this, but a plane, okay, when it takes off from a runway in order to go and, you know, hit a new destination, that plane has to stay on course, even to 1 degree. Okay, even to 1 degree. Now, if you've got a protractor, okay, if you've got any background in maths, or if you've still got your pencil case from school days, excuse me, or if you still got your pencil case from school days, you will know that 1 degree is such a small, minute measurement. It's a small measurement. A degree is a very small measurement. But what generally tends to happen is when people are living their life, okay, people are consistently making choices, consistently, okay? And this is going back to what I was talking about earlier, whether you hit the like button, whether you press subscribe, whether you hit the bell, whether you do any of those things. You see, we are going through consistent sets of choices. We're making choices. We're deciding to, we're deciding not to, we're deciding how, we're deciding how not to, okay? And because of this, all right, what we're actually doing is we are creating those degrees of movement towards, okay, or away from, towards or away from our future, towards or away from our purpose, towards or away from our, I use this word generally, but our success, okay? And many people don't realize this. Many people take way longer to realize this than they wish they did, okay? And this is one of the reasons I want to start with this before we even go deeper in day 1, okay? Many people do not realize until it's proverbially too late that each and every choice they're making is either pushing them towards the purpose that they believe they're supposed to be living for, or away from the purpose they're supposed to be living for. So as I speak to you guys about the trajectory of choices, I want you to think about a boat, and I want you to understand that if a boat goes 1 degree off course, that boat may end up miles, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away from its intended destination, okay? And the same as a plane. If a plane goes 1 degree off course, that plane, okay, and all of its passengers, I want to add that as well, because that's going to connect with something we're going to speak about later, but that plane and all of its passengers, that boat and all of its passengers, in the space of a plane, in the regards of a plane, it's even deeper. Because in the regards of a plane, that plane may end up a country away, cities away, okay, a whole continent away potentially, all right? But I want you guys to understand that whether it's a plane, whether it's a boat, 1 degree, okay, of variation from the trajectory can result in being somewhere completely different. Now I want you to think about your own life, okay? I want you to think about your own life. What if engaging with this content, what if listening to this stuff over the next 14 days, what if really engaging with this stuff could put you back on the original trajectory that you were supposed to be on, could put you back on the original course that you were supposed to be on, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, regardless of, you know, what you've gone through, regardless of your experiences. What if that could happen? Okay, if that could happen, would you stay? Would you stay for the 14 days? Would you engage for the 14 days? Would you comment? Would you like? Would you subscribe? Would you hit the bell notification? Would you say, I want all the notifications? What would you do if you knew that the next 14 days, the things we're going to go through are actually going to put you in the right place for your trajectory? What would you do? What would you do? Because this is a serious question, which sometimes we have to ask ourselves. I ask myself this question a lot of the times when I engage with books, okay? So for the generation that are, you know, thriving right now, books are an old school thing. Most people do, you know, electronic books right now. Many people are doing audio books only right now. So many people don't read books anymore, but I still read books, okay? And one of the things I tell myself, I speak to myself about when I'm reading a book is, what if this book actually can deliver on the promise that the title says? Or what if this book could actually deliver on the promise that the introduction has said? What if it could? I'll show you a book to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, okay? This book here, you may be able to tell how long I've had this book from just looking at the spine, of this book. But this book here, okay, this book is a book by John C. Maxwell, okay? He's a leader, he's an author, amazing leader, an amazing author as well. So John Maxwell wrote this book. It says over 1 million copies sold, okay? New York Times bestselling author of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and also the Failing Forward book. Books I've got as well. So anyway, let me just put this here. This book here is probably one of John Maxwell's classic books. Most people know him for this book. This book is called Developing the Leader Within You. Now, I have to ask myself when I start reading a book like this, what if this book delivers on its promise? What if this book actually develops the leader in me? Would I read it to the end? You know, and the answer to that is not a yes or no answer. Usually the answer to that question is something like, of course. Of course, if this book will actually develop the leader within me, of course I'll read it to the end, okay? So I want you to think about that as we go through this 14-day journey, okay? Will you allow your job, okay? And I'm not telling anybody to cheat time off their job, but would you allow your job? Would you allow your children? Would you allow the distractions, the excuses you may hear in your head to stop you from engaging with this content if this stuff actually delivers on what we're talking about? It actually helps you discover what your actual purpose is and helps you start to see how you can start working towards your purpose, okay? So the trajectory of choices is all about what choices we make and what that has an effect / impact on our lives in regard to as it pertains to our trajectory, okay? Our trajectory for life, our trajectory for purpose, etc., etc., etc. So ask yourself sometimes, how does a ship sail? You got to ask yourself sometimes, how does a ship sail? Okay, a ship sails by constantly pulling itself back onto the trajectory that was intended for that ship to reach its intended destination. Okay, and I want you to think about that in terms of your life. Have you been living like that? If you haven't, it's okay. All right, if you haven't, it's okay, but don't make what you haven't been doing what you don't do, okay? And that's a good place to write some notes down as well, okay? If you've just tuned into this and you're getting value, hit the like button, press subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can tell the YouTube world that this is some good content and other people need to watch this as well. But you should write that down. Okay, you should write that down. If you haven't been doing what you should be doing, don't allow what you haven't been doing to be what you keep doing. All right, because a lot of people do stuff like that. A lot of people say, oh, they've never, run a 4-minute mile. They've never run a 4-minute mile. But Roger Bannister, says to himself, I believe I can do it. And he says he's going to do it. And then he does it. Okay. And then in less than 12 months after that, many people do it. Okay. Now this shows you the resilience of humanity. This shows you how powerful as how powerful we are as humans. Okay. Because you can spend your life making excuses, hearing excuses, agreeing with excuses, taking on excuses about why you haven't, why you can't, why you won't, why you shouldn't, why you couldn't. Or you could spend your life reminding yourself that you can, that you will, and how you're going to. Okay, like this, for example, 14 days on purpose. Like, I could have been in a space where I made excuses as to why I wouldn't do this. Oh, in January, we did 21 days on our property channel. You know, that was kind of exhaustive. And because of that, you know, we don't have the energy, the capacity, the time, blah, blah, blah. So many excuses. I've got stuff to do today. Okay, yeah, we've all got stuff to do today, but this content might be more valuable than all of the things you've got to do. I'm just giving an example. It might be. There might be someone who's having suicidal thoughts, and because they're able to engage with this content, they decide not to kill themselves, and someone's purpose is potentially rescued. Guys, let me tell you something. That for me is way more important than whatever I've got to do today. And I'm just being very, very transparent with you guys. That's how I feel about life. Okay, I feel that life is so sacred and an individual's purpose is so sacred that for me, your purpose is way more valuable than anything I've got to do today, besides my own purpose. And that's the reason why I will show up for 14 days to give people value in regards to the question we're talking about, or the topic and subject that we're talking about. So the trajectory of choices is what I want to sit well with you as we start this journey, as you understand that you are going to make a choice each of the days to engage with this content or not to engage with this content. You are going to make a choice for the rest of your life to engage with your purpose or not to engage with your purpose. And I want you to understand that every single choice you make is pushing you towards your trajectory or tearing you away from the trajectory of your intended purpose on this earth. Now, let's jump in to the question, what does purpose mean to you? What does purpose mean to you? All right, now, to get us started, what I want to do is I'm going to do a Google search, okay? Because for many people, Google is their God, all right? Now, what do you mean, Samuel? For many people, Google is their God. Well, what I mean just simply, okay, I'm not trying to insult anybody. Just trying to make it clear. For many people, they worship Google because many people spend most of their time each day serving Google. Okay, they want to find something out, they ask Google. Okay, so if Google is your key resource, Google is what's leading you. If Google tells you a lie and you think it's a truth, you're going to live like it's a truth. And again, this goes back to the principle I started at the beginning of today's session, day one, when I said to you guys that we live out our lives many times based on our introductions. There are very few people, okay, if you think of the grand scheme of how many human beings we have on the planet, okay, over 8-point-something billion people on the planet, and there are very few of us who change our trajectory, okay, because we choose to defy the things we've been introduced to. There's very few of us who do that. But we as human beings have the resilience to do it, and every single one of us has the resilience to do it. So it doesn't need to be few of us. So quick Google search on the word purpose. This is the definitions that come up. And again, we're asking the question, what does purpose mean to you? If you've just tuned in or if you're with us, feel free to write your answer in the live chat. What does purpose mean to you? Side by side with that, if you're watching this on a replay, feel free to jump into the comments below and let us know, what does purpose mean to you? All right. And I want to encourage you, don't WhatsApp me, don't send me personal private messages with your answer. Let the people who are engaging with this content see your answer by you putting your answer right here on the channel. So the word purpose, with a Google search, says the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Okay, and I want you to think about that. That's the first definition. Let's just ponder on that for a minute. The reason for which something is done. Okay, so what was the reason for which you were done, you were created, you were formed, you were fashioned? Okay, that's a question we can ask as we're going on this 14-day journey. It goes on to say the reason for which something was done or created. What was the reason for which you were created? What was the reason for which I was created? That is supposed, according to Google, that is supposedly our purpose. It goes, or for which something exists. So let's ask ourselves this question. What is the reason? What is the purpose? What is the intention of your existence? What is the reason? What is the purpose? What is the purpose? What is the intention of my existence? Now, if we have a shallow answer to that question, what do you think our lives will look like? One word, the answer is shallow. If we have an in-depth reason for that question or the answer to that question, then our lives will look in depth. Why? Because that in-depth reason will give us enough motivation, inspiration in order for us to be in depth about how we live our life. Okay, so what was the reason for which you and I actually exist? Okay, so this is a question I want us to start engaging with. This is why we're doing this 14 days on purpose, because we want to actually find out what's the point of this? What's the point of this? Those of you who watched the video yesterday where I shared what we're going to be doing for the 14 days, I explained in that video who this 14 days is for. Okay, I explained this 14 days is for the people who have said to themselves, you know what, there is no purpose to their life. They're fed up. They're out of this stuff. You know, they're going to just jump off a bridge, whatever they're going to do. They're going to overdose, etc. This is for those people. I also explained that it's also for people who have said to themselves, they know they should be doing more with their life. They know that they have more potential within them, but they just can't seem to manifest that potential. They just can't seem to bring the power inside of them out. Okay, so that was the second group of people who I said this 14-day journey is for. It's for those people, because those people who have got to that place where they've said to themselves, I know I've got more inside of me. How do I bring it out? Those people are people who may or may not know it, but they're dealing with the question of purpose. And those are the second group of people that I believe this 14 days journey is going to help. The last group of people that I spoke about yesterday are people who have manifested the realization of their purpose, but not manifested the actualization of their purpose. So they've understood, you know what, I know what I was created for. I know what I'm intended for, but they haven't launched off the launch pad for some reason. There's a barrier or something holding them back. So they're the three groups of people we said this is for. Now, I'm sure you can now see when we read even just Google's definition, the reason for which something exists, the reason for which something was created, the reason for which something is done. You start to understand how all three groups of people who I shared this 14-day journey is for can receive value from engaging with this content. Because as we start to delve into the reason for which you were created, the reason for which you exist, the reason for which you were done, fashioned and formed, it starts to make sense that, oh, wow, this is definitely going to help someone who doesn't have a reason for their life. This is definitely going to help someone who's asking themselves, you know, how do I manifest that reason for my life? And also, someone who's at that place where they understand the reason, but they want to use that reason to move forward. All right. A second definition here on Google says a person's sense of resolve or determination. Now, this is interesting because what Google's doing here, or the definition's doing here, is giving you an interchangeable engagement between what purpose is and really what I would say what purpose can help you to do. So it says a person's sense of resolve or determination. Now, most people will understand if you know why you need to do something, it will become a driving factor for you to do something. Okay, most people understand that, not everyone does, but if you do understand that, you understand that the reason why sometimes the purpose is more important than the actual product. Okay, and that's some good notes to write down as well. The purpose is more important than the product. The purpose is more important than the product. I had this idea earlier on as I was preparing for this stream today, so I'll share it with you as well. Maybe this is inspired to be shared with you guys. Okay, cool. So here's a question. What if, and I'm not saying this is the case, okay, but what if Apple's purpose in creating their ecosystem, their software, their hardware, their Macs, their tablets, their iPads, their iPhones, what if their purpose was to control the world? Okay, and again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm saying this hypothetically. You know, I'm not even saying it hypothetically. I'm saying this as a joke, but I'm saying it for you to see a dimension as to what I mean when I say the purpose is more important than the product. Okay, you see, as human beings, many of us, we live our life as though we, the product, the body, who we are, is more important than our actual life's purpose. Okay, and I want you to understand that that's the wrong way to live your life. Okay, so I'm gonna explain that again. Okay, and I'm not saying this to tell you off if you've been doing it the other way around. I'm just telling you to tell you the fact. Okay, you see, when you see a business, I'm gonna come back to my point a moment ago. When you see a business with a strong core message, a strong purpose to change the world for climate, or to rediscover the truth of humanity, whatever it is as a slogan or whatever. But when you see a business, when you see an organization, when you see a charity with a strong core message, do you know what that does? Okay, that draws people, that draws products, that's about what you can get and what you can do. And because we live in this very, very humanistic society where we're educated around humanism, most people are not very successful as it pertains to their purpose, okay? Most people are not very successful as it pertains to many metrics, if you're going to be honest, besides breathing. Most people are not very successful at most things. Most people are successful at breathing, okay? Because by virtue of the fact they're alive, okay, you've been successfully able to breathe, okay? But the reality is, most people you come across and meet are not really happy about their life. Most people you come across and meet, they're not really happy about their achievements. Most people you come across and meet, they're striving for something else. And the reason why, we're going to dig into this over the 14 days, but part of the reason why is because of their purpose, okay? That's the actual heart. That's the core reason why. It's to do with their purpose. And this is the reason why we're doing these 14 days, okay? So what we have to understand is that having an understanding of our purpose energizes us to be able to achieve our purpose, okay? And when we lack an understanding of our purpose, we are de-energized from being able to materialize our purpose, okay? So again, Google's second definition, a person's sense of resolve or determination. Your sense of resolve or determination can instantly be affected by your knowledge and understanding of your purpose, okay? I want to show you of that. So again, like I said before, the product is not as important as the purpose. Now, again, going back to the analogy I gave, imagine if Apple's intention was to control the world. Imagine if Google's intention was to control the world. Imagine if Facebook's intention was to control the world. What you'd start to understand is that the product of Facebook, okay, social media application, is nowhere near as powerful as that purpose to control the world. Why? Because what they can do is they can then go and buy Instagram, okay, and use Instagram to achieve their purpose, i.e. take over the world. Or they could go and buy WhatsApp and use WhatsApp to achieve their purpose, take over the world. Or the same with Apple, okay? Apple can release an iPhone, Apple can release an iPad. They can just keep releasing stuff because their intention, their purpose is bigger than any one product. It's not about the iPhone 10. It's not about the iPhone 11. It's not about the iPhone 4. It's not about the Mac, M1. It's not about the device. It's not about the product. It's about the whole ecosystem working together to achieve their purpose. So you've got to ask yourself, do you have a thriving ecosystem behind you pushing towards achievement of your purpose, okay? And for some people, that doesn't have to be a complex thing. That can be a simple thing. That can be, I remember listening to a pastor, this was years ago, this must have been about 16 years ago, and the pastor basically said something phenomenal. He said, you should create your own information communication system, okay? You should create your own information communication system. And I remember hearing that and thinking to myself, information communication system, what's with all the long words? Why are the words so long? And I realized very quickly what he was talking about when he said you should create your own information communication system. He was saying technology is so advanced, and this was 16 years ago, mind you. He was saying technology is so advanced that you should have your own set of resources that will help you to move forward in your life. So whether that be a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a computer, but they should be set up in a way that they help you achieve what you're trying to achieve in your life. So if you're an author, they should be set up in a way where they create the least level of resistance for you to start getting in the lab and start writing books. Or if you are a content creator like myself, you should put things in place so you have the least barriers to entry to jump in front of the camera and start releasing powerful, fiery comment that can help people move further faster, help people move forward in their journey. Guys, the point I'm making to you and the point I want to share with you, the point I want you guys to pick up as I put down is that you should reduce the barriers to your entry. So what the pastor was saying 16 years ago is, guys, why don't you put things in your favor? Why don't you create your own ecosystem to help you achieve your purpose? All right. So Google says purpose is the reason something is in existence. Google says purpose is a person's sense of resolve or determination. Last definition I'm going to use before I jump out of Google. Google says have as one's intention or objective. So let me ask you this. Do you have your life's purpose as your intention and as your objective. Because this is what it's saying here. It's saying on Google that a purpose, someone's purpose, is what they have as their intention or their objective. Now, what happens for many people is, again, this is why I spoke about the three groups of people this content is going to be for over the 14 days. For many people, they do not have their purpose as their intended goal. They do not have their purpose as their objective. Okay, so it's like a destination. It's like saying, okay, someone wants to go to Tahiti, but they do not have Tahiti, okay, on the radar of their intended destination. They have it in their mind, they have it in their heart, but they don't have it on their itinerary. Now, the reason this is important is because I hope you understand this. On their journey to Salvador, let's say that's where they're actually going. On their journey to Salvador, the whole time as they make their way to Salvador, every time they get more realization that Salvador is where they're ending up, or is where they're going towards, or where they're going to end up being, they become more lethargic about life. They become more distraught about situations and scenarios. You know why? Because they start to realize to themselves, hold on a minute, I'm going to Salvador, but I want to go to Tahiti. I'm going to Salvador. We're getting closer to Salvador, but I'm supposed to be going to Tahiti. And I want you to understand that. I want you to take that analogy of travel and really kind of synchronize with that, so you see how so many people's lives are being destroyed. Because if you in your heart, in your mind, want to go to a specific destination, you want to travel to Lagos, Nigeria, but you're traveling to Sicily in Italy, what's going to happen is, as you realize when the aeroplane announcement says we are 1 hour from our destination and you've just left London, England, you're going to say to yourself, hold on a minute, Lagos, Nigeria is not 1 hour away from City Airport in London, in England. So something must be wrong. And you see, that's where the alarm bells start. Then you're going to go over, a particular sea, and you're going to start seeing, European lands. And you're going to be saying, hold on a minute, this doesn't look like where I plan to go in Africa, or this doesn't look like where I've planned to go. And then you're going to hear, we will be landing. We will be, prepare yourself for landing. We'll be landing in 10 minutes. Same thing. Okay. Same thing. You're going to be saying to yourself, hold on a minute, if we're landing in 10 minutes, we can't be at my intended destination. We can't be at my intended objective. And this is something I want us to really think about as we answer this question: what does purpose mean to you? You need to think about the fact that many people on this earth right now are living a life due to the things they've been introduced to through means of the schooling system, etc., where they're going to one destination but desiring to go to another. And I want you to be aware of this, because first and foremost, I don't want you to be that person. Proverbs 20 verse 5 says, a man of understanding will draw out the counsel. That's what I'm here to try and do over this 14 days. And the only reason I say try is because there are going to be some of you who don't stick with this for 14 days. But those of you who are with us for 14 days, you are going to clearly see me do that with you over the 14 days, okay? Your counsel, your purpose is like deep water, and I will be supporting you, helping you, working with you to draw it out. So they're the 3 definitions we're going to use from Google. Now, with those 3 definitions from Google, what I want to now do is share with you guys some definitions from the Bible, okay? And I think these definitions are extremely important in order for us to have an understanding of what our purpose actually is, all right? So I'm gonna grab my Bible. Thank you to all of you who are commenting on the live. Feel free to keep commenting, guys. Our comment section on the live show is for you guys to engage. It's for you guys to build a community around the things we're talking about. So let's do this. So I'm going into Psalm chapter 138 verse 8. Okay, Psalm 138 verse 8, for those of you who are rocking with me in the Bible. I'm going to read this to you, okay? I'm reading from the King James Version. I'll also read from the ESV in a moment. It says, the Lord will perfect the things which concern me. Your mercy, O Lord, endures forever. Forsake not the works of your own hands. Okay? Forsake not the works of your own hands. Don't forsake your products. Okay? So this is funny. The works of your hands. So when you think about a manufacturer like Apple, Apple manufacture devices, okay? So they might manufacture an iPad. So that's the work of their hands. That's the physical product that they create. That's the product that they put out there into the ecosystem. Psalm 138 verse 8 says, again, the Lord will perfect, okay? So the Lord will make things perfect. He will support, he will help, he will improve. I think that's a great word for us. The Lord will improve, God will improve, okay, the things which concern me. Now, your purpose, like I said, should be more important than you as a product. So if your purpose is more important than you as a product, what this is actually saying in the book of Psalms 138 verse 8 is actually saying that God wants to work, God wants to improve, God wants to perfect your purpose. Okay, God wants to perfect your purpose. God wants your purpose to be materialized perfectly. Okay, this is what it's saying in Psalm 138 verse 8. But let's go forward. It says, forever, okay, thy mercy, O Lord, endures forever. Forsake not the works of your own hands. So it goes on to say, listen, God, I know you want to make perfect the things that connect with me. I know you want to improve the things that are to do with my purpose, to the things that are to do with what I'm created for, the things that concern me. And your love endures forever. Your mercy endures forever. You're always going to be around, even if I'm not around. Your power is always going to be around, even if I'm not around. I might live for this period of time, 100 years, 20 years, 80 years, but you're always going to be around. So not only do you want to perfect and improve the things that connect with me, the purpose that I'm actually here, but you're always going to be around. So you can be working on it when I'm not here. And this is how some people write books, and their books exist even when the people are gone. But the last part of the verse is quite powerful. It says, forsake not the works of your own hands, which basically means, God, don't allow the product you've created, the person you've created, the man you've made, don't allow me, the woman you've made, the person, don't allow the thing you've created to be forsaken, to be used as rubbish or to become rubbish. Let's read it out of the ESV, which is the English Standard Version, just to give it a different kind of twist for those of you who want a more contemporary version. It says, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Okay, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me, his intention for me, his reason for creating me. Okay, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the work of your hands. Okay, so what I want us to understand, we've read what Google says about purpose, but now let's look at what the Bible said about purpose. First and foremost, in Psalm 138 verse 8, the Bible is telling us that purpose is something that can be perfected. Okay, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. O Lord, perfect the things that concern me. Purpose can be perfected. If you're taking notes, that's one of the notes you want to write down. My purpose can be perfected. Now, what does perfected mean? Well, to perfect something means to improve it. It means to make it better. It means to make it better up until it's complete. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for you. I want you to write that down. Okay, your purpose can be perfected. And guys, let me know if you're getting value from this. If you're getting value, feel free to write the word value in the live chat, or if you're watching on replay, feel free to write the word value in the comments below. Okay, we got comments in the chat. It says, love it, and the possibility is unlimited. Yes, Google is correct on this one. Purpose is everything. I appreciate that. Thank you for your comments, guys. You see, we need to go deeper. Let's go deeper, all right? Because this is a lot of stuff which is really powerful, but we're just laying a foundation. First couple of days of these 14, we're just laying a foundation. So hopefully you guys are gonna join me throughout this, so you can really get the value. We're gonna go to Psalm 57 verse 2. Okay, Psalm 57 verse 2. Okay, this will just be a couple of pages before where we just read in your Bible. So Psalm 57 verse 2. We're talking about what does purpose mean to you. We've read some definitions from Google. A moment ago, we looked at Psalm 138 verse 8 to look at kind of what does purpose mean according to that. Now, Psalm 57 verse 7, Psalm 57 verse 2, it says, I will cry unto God most high, unto God that performeth all things for me. Okay, or unto God that performeth, if you take out the translators, all things, it says unto God that performeth for me. Now, excuse me. Now, Psalm 57 verse 2 is another powerful verse because it says to you that purpose is something we should partner with God on, okay? Purpose is something you shouldn't undertake really on your own, okay? And I'll give you an analogy to help you understand this. You see, if Apple, again, I'm using Apple quite a lot today, so maybe in the next 13 days, I'll try and use another organization. But if an organization such as Apple have an intention, okay, they have a purpose, something they're trying to achieve, okay, and a device is created, okay, whatever that device is, okay, let's say we've got Apple glasses, okay, so a device is created, the Apple glasses, okay, Apple Glass, okay, we had Google Glass before, so let's say we got Apple Glass now. So the manufacturer has its own purpose, and the products it makes are a byproduct of the purpose. And what the product should do is work as part of an ecosystem to help achieve the purpose the manufacturer has. So my question is this, okay, when we start reading in Psalm 57 verse 2, okay, God will help fulfill the things that connect to me, all right? You should not be focused on your purpose alone. You should not be trying to work on your purpose alone. Now, let's go back to it. If this set of glasses, if the Apple glasses, if a set of glasses made by a manufacturer were created to achieve part of a purpose or to play a part in a grand scheme of the purpose that the manufacturer has, what will generally tend to happen is there will be components of this product, regardless of what this product does, whether this product just sits on the sideline or not, which will contribute to the purpose that the manufacturer has. But there will equally be, okay, many more pieces of this product that will only contribute to the purpose if utilized. So what do I mean? Well, what I mean is this: if you use the product for the intended purpose the product was created for, okay, so you say to yourself, these glasses made by this manufacturer are made to be worn. So you put them on and you wear them, okay? Now that you've put them on and you've worn them, they now can contribute to the purpose they were created for. Why? Because they're being used in the fashion and in the framework that they were created to be used in, okay? But if they're not being used in that purpose, if they're not being used for that plan, for that intended agenda, they can potentially be rendered useless. Now, again, I want us to think about our lives and understand where I'm coming from with this. There are many of us, as I mentioned earlier, who are not being used for our intended purpose. And as a byproduct of us not being used for our intended purpose, do you know what happens? We don't achieve our purpose, okay? We don't see the significance of our purpose. We don't help other people with their purpose because they don't see an example. They instead see a warning. And it's only when we understand that there are examples and warnings that we can start to learn from warnings as well as examples. And many people do not learn from warnings or examples because they don't understand that there are warnings and examples out there. Most people think everything is an example, and I can assure you, not everything is an example. There are things you need to watch, like the teachers I used to watch, and when I was a critic, until I heard that sentence, there are warnings and examples from a coach. I then learned, you know what? I don't need to criticize these teachers. I just need to realize that they're a warning. They're a warning to me of what I shouldn't be doing. They're a telltale sign of what I shouldn't be engaged in. And these other teachers that are doing a great job, that are fantastic, which are producing great results, you see, they are an example to me of how I'm supposed to teach. And this is the reason why, as I admitted earlier on, in my first year of education as an educator, I did not achieve much in my educational career. But in my second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, I achieved what I would call outstanding results as a teacher. As an educator, in my career as an educator, most people look at my career as an educator and say, Samuel, you did really well in a short period of time as an educator. But what they don't realize is I did really well in a short period of time because year one, I did not achieve anywhere near the amount of success I believed I was going to achieve according to my plans in the world of education. And it's quite simple. Why? Because I was a critic. But the moment I realized, you know what, I don't want to be a critic. I want to be someone who's advancing. And the best way to advance is, instead of looking at these people who are doing it wrong as, oh, you're doing it wrong, you shouldn't do it wrong, I took the advice of the coach and realized, hold on a minute, there's something else here. There's something else here very, very powerful. There are warnings and there are examples. So I just need to identify which one the teacher in front of me, the staff member in front of me is. Are you a warning or are you an example? If you're a warning, then I don't want to do what you're doing. If you're an example, then I want to see how well I can do what you're doing. And we need to start doing that. So Psalm 57 verse 2, I'm going to read it in the ESV as well. It says, I cry out to God Most High, which means I'm interested in his opinion. I'm crying out for him. I'm crying out to him. I want to hear what he's got to say. I'm looking in that direction. Okay. It goes on to say, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. Okay, so again, I want to reiterate the comment I made a moment ago. Purpose is not something you should be focused on alone. If you see us human beings as the product, our purpose is more powerful than us as the product, and purpose is not something we should be focused on alone. Okay, now there are many people who try to do that. Many people who, I'll do it on my own, I did it my way, the Frank Sinatra song says, etc. But guys, you don't have to do this on your own. I would not encourage you to do this on your own. So few other verses I'm going to throw out here just for you guys who want to read up on them. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, Proverbs chapter 20 verse 5, which I read earlier. So they're just extra kind of verses for you guys to think about. Now, I want to jump into a character. Let me know if we should jump into the character today or if we should leave that for tomorrow. We have been on the stream for over an hour already. But let me know, guys, do you want us to jump into the character today? If you want us to jump into the character today, just put the letter C in the chat and we can keep going for a little while longer. But if you guys want us to wrap up, we can wrap up and come back with the character tomorrow, which actually might be nice, because then tomorrow's stream would just focus on a specific biblical character and see how they viewed purpose and how purpose was viewed in their life. Okay, so if you want us to do that, I think we will do that. So that's what we're going to do. So guys, with all of that being said, let me jump into the chat, see what is going on in the chat, see what you guys are saying to me. Okay, cool. Okay, love it, and the possibility is unlimited. Yes, Google is correct on this one. Purpose is everything. Thank you also, ICanWin, in the chat. We've got Mrs ICanWin who gives us the I can't remember what that emoji is called, but guys, you know what it is. It's up there and it is showing. All right, cool. Well, with all of that being said, guys, it's absolutely been fantastic being on the stream with you guys. Those of you who are watching this on a replay, like I said, comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your views. And my key question for the end of this stream is, what does purpose mean to you? I'd love for you guys to let us know in the comments, what does purpose actually mean for you? I'm Samuel ICanWin, ICanWin. It's been a great pleasure to join you and to be with you for day one of our 14 days on purpose. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow, where we have day 2 on our 14 days on purpose, where we're going to be speaking about a specific person's life and how that interpreted into purpose for all of us. So with all of that being said, I love you and I'll see you on tomorrow's live.